So, Scream, my favorite horror franchise of all time, and with Scream 5 having the big box office boom that it had, not surprisingly, they greenlit Scream 6. So, with the news of that, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you what I would like to see happen in Scream 6. So this video will contain spoilers for all of the Scream franchise, including number 5 and the Scream TV show. Just season 3 though, because I don't consider seasons 1 or 2 in the Ghostface canon because they use a different mask. So, jumping right into it, this whole idea of mine is based off of one line that Dewey says to Sydney in Scream 5 and this might be a spoiler, so if you don't want any spoilers, do not watch this video. But when the new main girl goes to ask Dewey for help after he kicks them out and whatnot, he calls Sydney and he says something along the lines of, "It's happening again and this one feels different." If I can find a clip of it, I'll play it.
It's happening again.
Some idiot in a ghost face mask. 3 attacks so far.
Something about this one just feels different.
Which that line to me implies a lot. And I might be reading way too much into it, but that line, like, "oh, this one feels different," implies to me that Ghostface mask killers have popped up in other places other than just Woodsboro surrounding Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. Because in this universe, you gotta remember that Stab is like a huge movie franchise, right? So other people across the country probably know about it and are into it as well. And in Scream 1, we find out that Billy and Stu got the original Ghostface costume just from a Halloween store that was selling it. So it's safe to assume that other Halloween stores across the country also sell the costume, which circles me right back into the Scream TV series and season 3. So we know that that whole story happens around Dion and his secret of taking his twin's identity. That doesn't really go into what I want to see in Scream 6, but it surrounds him and then his friends and whatnot. And just skipping all the way ahead to the killer reveal, we know that one of the killers, played by Tyga, is killed and he's dead, so not talking about him. But in the second killer reveal, we find out that it's Beth who is the killer, and her whole reason is that she's a sociopath, whatever.
I always knew I was a sociopath.
But basically, when she's killed in the end, Keke Palmer's character comes in and is like, "oh, I don't care if it's a sequel, reboot, whatever," and then the killer always comes back for one last scare, right?
It don't matter if it's a classic horror, a prequel, a sequel, a preboot, or a reboot. Everybody knows the killer comes back for one last scare.
But they neglect to say anything about shooting the killer in the head, and as we know from Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., you need to shoot them in the head for them to be killed. So Keke comes in, and of course Beth jumps up and she shoots her a bunch of times, but not in the head. And then Beth has her one last line of like, "oh, you're the real final girl, Keke," or whatever.
It's you the whole time. Guess you're right. We are partners.
And then she falls down, right? So, here's what I would like to see in Scream 6. So, Scream 5, also big spoiler, but Dewey dies. And the last time we seen a original die was Randy in Scream 2. Since then, the main 3 survivors have lasted, obviously, until Scream 5, when they kill Dewey. So, my thinking in this universe, that would make huge headlines that, oh my god, one of the original people who inspired all these Stab movies, which are Hollywood royalty in that world, died, right?
Jesus, the camera, hurry!
My name isn't Jesus.
And also their reason for killing was because that the Stab movies kind of like lost real material to go off of. So they got mad and decided to write the next one. So have the next Stab movie that we see in Scream 6 come out and have it be around the new killing and Dewey dying, whatever. And then you can have all the way back in the final scene of the Scream the TV series with Beth, she is shot and passed out, but when they leave, you can have someone had come in and like saved her. Like, for example, one of the survivors from Scream, like maybe have Mark Kincaid, the detective, be Beth's father, because in the series we don't see her father at all, and with her monologue to Liv, she's like, I was just looking for someone to come in so I could be a killer or whatever.
I was a wannabe killer in search of an origin story until one night it walked right through my door.
But you can have, like, Mark Kincaid had gone crazy or whatever, and then find out that his daughter put on the mask or, like, was facilitating the whole thing, trying to put the spotlight back on the killings or whatever. I don't know. I haven't really fleshed out the real reasons. But then you can have, like, all the survivors come back, where it could be, like, Ghostface is, like, targeting all the survivors under the puppeteering of Mark Kincaid. And because in Scream 2, they almost try to, like, set up this weird connection between Mark and Sidney.
I know what it's like to see ghosts that don't go away.
Where you can have, like, they had been scorned lovers at some point or whatever, like, in between movies, and that could be his reason. But yeah, I think that would just be cool, because then you could have all these people come back from Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, like Kirby, and maybe even Gail's camera guy from Scream 2, and then the Scream 5 kids as well, and then even from the TV show, the survivors, like Keke Palmer's character, and then Dion, and then Liv and stuff. I just think that would be a cool thing to set up, maybe. Obviously, the writers would have to work it out a little bit more than I just did right now, but wouldn't that be cool? If they just tied everything back together with, like, all the ones. Or just a side one. Just simply have it just be someone that's not linked to the original Ghostface at all, and have it be, like, an obsessive fan of Gail's or Sidney, because she wrote a book too. And, like, they just put on the mask so that it was, like, a psychological thing or whatever. But then when they rip the mask off, it's just like, it was just a crazy fan or something like that.
I'll send you a copy.
Because then you can have your, like, meta Scream commentary on, like, people becoming crazy about their idols or whatever. So yeah, I just thought I would throw that idea out there. Leave in the comments what you would want to see in Scream 6, and I'll see you later.
Final girl, y'all. Underestimate at your own risk.